After the release of Misao back in 2011, developer Sen returned with another game titled Mad Father. The game is set in a similar universe to Misao and tells the story of an 11-year-old girl named Aya who breaks into her father's secret laboratory to save him, but in the process, she uncovers the horrifying truth of his research. Since its release, Mad Father has received remakes with added improvements such as new mode that expands the lore, easier system for newcomers, updated visual, and more. But unlike Sen's previous game, Mad Father is even darker and more disturbing than Misao.
I've always heard things from that lab. Even at a young age, I knew what my father was doing, but I pretended to not know, because I love my father.
Mad Father began with Aya Drevis going down to her father's secret lab to see him because she couldn't sleep on her own. Her father reassured her that she is not alone and that her late mother's spirit is there to watch over her. He promised to take her tomorrow to see her grave on her death anniversary. Aya reluctantly agrees and went back to her room. She then heard a loud scream for help, followed by a chainsaw sound, but pretended to not hear anything about it and returned to her room. We then see what happened inside the laboratory. Aya's father, Alfred, just finished experimenting on a person. Maria informs him that she's going to dispose the material, but Alfred stops her and tells her to come close. They then share a hug. It seems that Alfred is having an affair with his assistant. Maria told her that Aya is aware of their relationship and isn't too fond of her, but the doctor didn't care and dismissed it as her being in a troubling age since she's turning 11. He then told Maria to take care of Aya, ensuring nothing bad happened to her. Alfred also told Maria that Aya is Alfred's most precious something before the screen fades to black. We then see Aya in her bedroom, unable to sleep because she misses her mother. Since she was not able to fall asleep, she decided to get up and look around her room. She looked at the doll given by her father sitting on a chair. Noticing that it's old and worn, she remembers the day she got it. In that flashback, when she was given the doll, she noticed that it's almost lifelike. After she's done with the doll, she checks out the book that her mother used to read to her before going to bed. When she opened the book titled Red Eye Stranger, a gem-like object fell out of the book. I think this is a good place to mention that collecting the 20 gems will unlock another secret ending. Aya then went over to her mother's portrait next to her bed. She then mentioned how she misses her and told her that Maria scares her because of how she looked at her. Suddenly, the room's temperature dropped and it freaked her out. Aya decided to go back to bed, but then she heard a sound outside of her room, which thankfully she ignored and went back to bed. She then dreamed of the time when all three of them were happily spending time together. Those were the happiest time of her life, but then her mother died of an illness and all that happiness that she had was gone. Suddenly, she heard her father scream. The scream must have been loud for her to be able to hear it from the basement. Aya woke up immediately and despite having a bad feeling about the situation, she decided to go to her father. On her way out, a chilling laughter is heard and suddenly, bloody handprint appeared on the wall. Two figures appear, both deformed and corpse-like, who slowly approach her. But just as they were closing in, another voice calls out to Aya, telling her to come to the west side hallway. Aya didn't have time to think and immediately followed after the voice. The voice belonged to a blonde boy named Robin. Robin guided her to the stairs, but when he turned around, Aya saw that he's missing an eye. This scares her as this person could also be like the corpses she saw before. She runs back only for her to encounter the two corpses again. She went into her room and locked the door. But inside, she found a strange man named Ogre, a traveling salesman, who told her that the corpses that appeared in the mansion were her father's test subject, and overcome with anger, they had been brought back to life by the power of a curse to take revenge on her father. This surprises Aya, and without hesitation, she planned to rescue her father. But Ogre asked why she wanted to save him when all of this is the result of his own doing. Aya couldn't answer the question and just left the place. Aya quickly went to her father's laboratory to find him. To get there, she must pass through the central hallway and go down the stairs in the middle of the hall. But when she reached the place, a sinister laughter is heard, and quickly she stopped in her track right as the doll falls to the floor. Now I think this is a good place to mention the mechanic of this game. This game has a lot of QTE where failing would result in Aya's death. Some of them only required one press of a button, but some will require button combination and button mashing. After putting the doll back to safety, Aya went down the stairs where she found out the hallway was blocked up by a pile of discarded dolls. She needs to find a way to get through here, as this is the only way to reach her father. When she went back upstairs, she saw the doll that she almost stepped before moving. Aya wondered if this is also part of the curse. While exploring the west hallway, Aya finds out that the door to the archive room was locked. There might be some clues in there, so she decides to search for the key. Aya returns to the east hallway and finds out that the strange man had disappeared. Relieved but still worried, she took her pet rabbit named Snowball with her as she didn't want anything to happen to it. She decided to check the room next to her, but as soon as she enters, a woman with a pale face and blood dripping from her eyes appeared. She demanded that her daughter be returned to her. Aya was stunned that she didn't even feel scared. She approached the spirit near the window where it repeated the same lines before disappearing. Near the window, Aya grabbed the archive key and took notice of the safe that is locked with a dial lock before unlocking the archive room. Inside the archive room, Aya found the code to the safe when she checks out the data on Live Experiment book. As soon as she closed the book, a figure of a child clings on to Aya. She kept repeating the word mother. This might be the child that the pale woman wanted back. The child then showed a flashback of what happened to her. Apparently, she is a victim of Aya's father, being experimented on until she died. Aya couldn't bear to look at the gruesome scene and shoved the child away from her. It then dropped a pendant which she took so she could give it to the pale lady later. Before leaving, she read a book called The Flame Egg, and it gave her the idea to burn the pile of dolls in the basement. She took note of the items she needed, which is clothes, firewood, wires, and exited the archive room to look for the solution for the safe code before returning to the east hallway bedroom. When she returned to the room, Aya gave the pendant to the ghost lady to return her daughter to her. Both mother and child were reunited and disappeared. After that, Aya opens the safe with the code that she obtained before. Inside the safe, she found her mother's belonging and a lamp that would surely be useful later on. A perfume bottle falls onto the floor. She picked it up and remembers the night when her mother found out about her father's affair with Maria. She remembers her mother acting weird that day, almost as if she is not her usual kind self. She then took her mother's perfume bottle as a good luck charm and head out. Her goal right now is to find the materials to burn the doll in the basement. While exploring the west hallway, Aya enters the reception room. Here, she heard a weeping sound coming from the fireplace but couldn't verify it as the fire was burning fiercely. No other choice, she had to leave it for now. She saw something shining on top the cupboard, and using a chair to reach to the top, she picked up an old key which she can use on a safe hidden behind a painting in this room. But unknown to Aya, as soon as she approached the painting, narrowly escaping the doll, she uncovered a safe hidden behind the painting, and using the key she got earlier, she obtained a dagger which she used on an old dress that she found earlier in the dressing room to get the first material, a piece of cloth. After that, she went into the kitchen to get her second material, a firewood. Also in this area, there is a hidden passage that took her to the basement storehouse. The door is blocked up by something, but luckily Aya brought Snowball along with her, and it just so happened that the wall have a small opening big enough for a small creature. Aya released Snowball into the opening where it obtained the last material that she needed, a wire. With all the materials obtained, she handcrafted a torch and made her way to the basement to burn the doll. When she reached the stairs leading to the basement, the place is covered in blood with the word "Your Dad, Murderer" written on the floor in German. However, this does not faze Aya one bit, as she continues down the basement and burned the doll. After a while, it stopped burning and Aya was able to proceed. The hallway took her to the taxidermy room. Looking around, the room is filled with human body parts, mutated babies in jars, and rows of cylinder tubes which contains a baby-like creature. As she exited the place, a bottle of eyeball fell from the table. Aya finds it weird that it fell but picked it up anyway since it might be useful somewhere. When she got to the laboratory, Aya finds Maria on the floor, badly injured. She asks her what happened and Maria told her that she needs to run away because it's dangerous. She also mentioned Aya's mother was with her father. This surprises Aya, who demanded to know what she meant by that, but Maria passed out due to her injuries. Ogre then appeared and Aya asked him what did Maria see. Is it truly her mother? Ogre just told her to proceed on and find the truth herself. Before exiting the laboratory, Aya noticed something was on the floor near Maria. When she picked it up, it was a key to her room. There's nothing else to see after that, so she proceed on. The door on the upper left is the incubation room. When Aya enters it, she saw her father on the floor with the one person she hoped was not the cause for all of this. Her mother. Aya tries to get close to them but her mother dragged her father away, shutting the door behind her along the way. Ogre then appeared, telling her that the curse was caused by a woman who seek out her father's death. Aya, in disbelief, asks if the woman is her mother, to which Ogre confirms her suspicion. She told Ogre that her mother couldn't be the cause of all of this because she knew that her mother loves her father more than anything and she understands his work. Aya then got up. She decided to find the answer herself, to see what is right and what is wrong. As she chased after her mother, Aya met a prisoner who is missing both of her eyes. She remembers that she took a bottle of eyeballs before and offered it to her, but there is no space to insert it. She has to find another way. As she explores the passage, she saw a ladder that took her into the shed where here she obtained a mini chainsaw. With the chainsaw, she returned to the crossroad passage and cut open the board on the left side to get the flame retardant, an object that is used to extinguish flame. She then returned to the reception room where she can hear the girl's crying voice loud and clear. Using the flame retardant, she extinguished the flame and dropped the bottle containing the eyeball. The crying immediately stopped. Before returning to where the prisoner girl is, Aya opens up Maria's room using the key she left behind. She looked around her room and found her diary which details her life before and after coming to the mansion. Apparently, Maria was brought in by Alfred to become a test subject for his experiment, but because she is too good at taking care of others, Alfred decided to take her in as her assistant. Maria was overjoyed by this, and this happiness soon turned into love because for the first time, she felt loved by someone. Returning back to the prisoner girl, we saw her picked up the eyes and disregarding the glass shard that could potentially harm her, she put the eyeball into her eye socket and thanked Aya. Aya discovered that her prison cell led to a corridor which took her to a passage that seems normal at first, but after going down the stairs, she returns at the entrance again. It seems like she's stuck in a looping passage. Aya tries to solve it by going through it again, and after the second time she enters the loop, she noticed that the light flickered. When she turned back, she saw a woman in the corner. Aya asked her if she's the one who kept her from going and the woman nodded. She told her that she needs to let her pass because she had to save her father. The woman was hesitant. Aya then asked her what she could do to convince her and without answering, she started following her everywhere. Aya then asked her if she wanted to get out of the mansion and the woman nodded. She agreed to take her out, but just as they were leaving, Aya became the woman's and experienced her point of view before she dies in the hands of Alfred. After that experience, she returned to the looping passage where she saw the woman's body on the floor. She didn't say anything to it and just leave. The passage took her to the hall to the second floor basement where she saw a huge door. The door might lead her to her father, but without a lever to open it, she can't go inside. So she set her goal to find the lever. While exploring the area, she found an old man who points her in the direction of the wall. She decided to follow it and surprisingly, she enters into another laboratory. Inside the room, she found a forceps and a lot of jars containing white rabbit who eerily look similar to Aya's pet rabbit Snowball. Before entering the room in front of the old man, Aya explored the right side area and enters the toilet room. Inside one of the toilet at the end of this room, she found a cell key which she picked up by using the forceps she found earlier. Using the cell key, she unlocks the jail cell and goes through the tunnel's hidden passage. Inside, she saw a doll stood in front of her telling her to not make a single sound in the next area, otherwise... Without even thanking the doll for its sacrifice, Aya enters the tunnel. Remembering what the doll said earlier, she carefully moves around the place without making a noise. She managed to go through the area without making a single sound, but then out of nowhere, a doll with an axe appeared. It seems like this one didn't get the memo, or maybe it didn't have the capacity to think, because as soon as it laughed thinking it won, the doll with the spear stabbed it to death. What a dumb way to die. After the doll was disposed of, Aya enters the tunnel and it seems to lead her to a dead end, but upon closer look, there is a crack on the floor that would break with enough impact. Suddenly, she had an idea. She made some noise which attracts the killer doll, but at the last minute, she dodged it. The impact of that attack creates a hole which she finds out contains the hand lever, a key item she needed to open the huge door in the hall. Aya returns to the hall and opens the large door. Inside, she saw Ogre again and proceeded to enter the door on the upper right. This took her to the cafeteria where she was attacked by a hanging man. She struggled to break free from it and eventually she managed to do so, but fell unconscious after that. Shortly after, footsteps can be heard as the person dragged Aya away. Not long after that, Aya woke up to see Robin. She backs away a bit, but Robin assures her that he's an ally. Aya then asks if the wound on his face were his father's doing. Robin assured her that it's all in the past and that he's here to save her. He attempted to take her away to safety, but Aya refuses, saying that she needed to save her father. Robin told her to forget about her father and then forcefully tries to take her away. Suddenly, several knives hit him out of nowhere and he fell to the ground. Turns out it was Maria who came to save her. She asked Aya to leave her father to her because she didn't want anything bad happening to her. Aya disagrees, saying that she's going to save her father no matter what. The door then opens as if somebody was inviting them, taunting them to try if they can. Maria went on ahead with Aya following not long after that. After another confrontation with the hanging man, she arrived in a room where she needed to match everything in that room exactly like the other. After solving the puzzle, the gate in the center opened, revealing a room with a book in the middle. The book is apparently a diary about her father's childhood. It seems that since he was a kid, he's already a broken mess, killing animals and hiding corpses in a drawer. Her mother scolded him a lot of times for that disturbing behavior, and it got to a point where he couldn't stand it anymore and killed his mother. Instead of remorse, he was excited to see her mother's pretty dead face. He eventually got addicted to seeing people's dead faces. The diary ended and the gate opens up, allowing Aya to proceed on. As soon as she enters, the head of an unknown woman was dropped in front of her. However, that didn't faze her one bit as she avoided the head and moves on. When she arrived at the stairs landing, she was approached by a figure of a woman who kept saying that it hurt and wanted her to kill her. Aya, out of fear, accidentally used her chainsaw on the woman. The woman finally got what she wanted, disappeared, leaving a pool of blood. The situation is a bit too much for Aya. Fatigue had caught up to her and, for the second time, she fell unconscious. After that, Ogre approached the unconscious Aya, likely to protect her from danger. Not long after that, Aya woke up after dreaming about her mother. The dream was so vivid that she could smell her perfume. When she opened her eyes, a pale kid was playing with her mother's perfume. This is Inez, one of the unfortunate test subjects of Alfred. Aya asked for the perfume to be returned only for her to run away and lock herself in the next room. Aya explores the area and found a rusty key in a passageway surrounded by deadly rats. She quickly grabbed the key and opens the door. When she entered the room, Aya saw Inez trying to get the rat to come closer to her by using the perfume scent, but it failed because the rat hated the smell of it. She confronted her and asked for the perfume, but was surprised to find that she didn't have it. Aya searched every corner of the room until eventually she pushed the dress aside, which reveals a hole covered hastily by wooden planks. Inside, she found her mother's perfume, but as soon as she grabbed it, a sinister laugh can be heard and a doll appeared, ready to attack her. Aya runs out of the room and closed the door behind her. After a while, the banging stopped and Aya continues her search. She returned to the passageway filled with rats. Aya remembered earlier that Inez tried to use the perfume to attract the rat, but it runs away instead. With that idea, she sprayed some onto her clothes and proceeded through the passageway safely. This took her down to the dollhouse where various dolls were displayed. As she proceeded on, a doll with an axe appeared, who then chased after Aya. Luckily, she left one of the gates open. Immediately, Aya went in and shut it behind her. She's safe for now, however at the same time she is trapped as well because on the outside, a killer doll is patrolling, while inside, she didn't see any exit apart from the front gate. As she ponders on how to escape, she slept inside the coffin. Suddenly, the coffin moves, revealing a hidden stairs that took her to the next room. Aya suddenly have an idea. She opens the gate and attracts the attention of the killer doll, who rushed in to chase after her. She quickly blocked her using a statue and quickly shut the gate, trapping the killer doll inside. Now that she's safe, Aya continues on. She arrived in the outside lab where a strange doll was placed in the middle of the hall. Aya ignores it at first, but when she tried to open the door, a strange barrier prevents her from going in. The doll suddenly spoke where it told Aya that she will not be able to pass through. This frustrates her as she is close to saving her father. Suddenly, Inez appeared and told Aya that in order to pass through, she had to burn the doll. The doll now a bit shaken up as if she believed that nonsense. Aya just gave it the coldest look ever and took it with her. After carefully avoiding the hall with the killer dolls, she arrived in the incinerator room area. Before she entered the place, she overheard a conversation from someone about her, followed by a loud sound as if someone was being stabbed. When Aya entered, she found Inez on the floor, filled with stab wounds. She pulled out one of the scalpel to use later, and in doing so, she saw a flashback of Inez's tragic life and death. When Aya saw that, she immediately apologized for what happened to her. Aya tries to open the incinerator door, but it's locked. She then explored a bit more and found a key on the train track. However, before she could take it, a dog appeared and swallowed the key. At the end of the tunnel, Aya found the dog, but she can't just recklessly approach it. She needed a plan. On her way here, she passed through a cultivation room where the room was apparently used to mass cultivate mandrakes. Mandrakes have the ability to incapacitate people when it was forcefully pulled out. After solving a puzzle, she used a device to pull out the mandrake. The sound of its scream kills the dog immediately, allowing her to cut open its stomach and take the key back. Using the key to enter the incinerator room, she plans to throw the doll into the burning pit, but before she could do that, the doll impersonated her mother's voice to stop her. But it didn't work as Aya knows better. Without hesitation, she throws away the doll where it bursts into flame. With the doll destroyed, there's nothing else to stop her. She returned to the room with the huge door. When she entered the room, she saw a portal in front of her. Ogre explained that the portal led to the other world and asked Aya if she's going in. Since she's so determined, Ogre gave her a magic water which will help her put her mother to rest and save her father. After all the preparation was done, Aya jumped into the portal. When she arrived in the other world, she saw her mother with her father and Maria laying unconscious not too far from her mother. Monica asked Aya to leave, but Aya refused and even telling her mother to remember their promises together. Aya then begs her mother to take her with them as well since she can't stand living alone without them. Suddenly, her mother bursts in anger and opens a portal. Aya took this chance to grab hold of her father. This angers her mother even further and she approached them. Aya begged her to stop, but no matter what she said, her mother wouldn't listen. Without any choices left, she used the magic water on her mother. A bright light engulfed them and the next thing they knew, they're back in the doll room. However, Aya's mother is still present. Although she's close to disappearing, she managed to show Aya what happened that night. We then see the continuation of what the doctor said at the beginning of the game. The doctor told Maria that Aya is his precious doll. This is a bit shocking to Aya as it reveals his father's sick idea of turning her into a doll. Monica overheard the conversation and confronts him. She threatened to leave him after hearing what he'll do to their daughter. Alfred couldn't let that happen and kills her by stabbing her in the chest. We then return to Aya, who after seeing what happened to her mother immediately felt terrified of her father. She unintentionally backed away until she hit the curtain and it opened up, revealing her mother's dead body inside. Aya, upon finding out what her mother showed her was actually true, finally realized what her father truly is. Alfred then laughed maniacally. Since his daughter found out, there is no reason to keep playing the good father anymore. He then showed Aya the rows of dolls that he displayed, all of which were once human. He even showed a different variation of the doll where he swapped the head for an animal. Aya was horrified by this. She needs to run away. She needs to escape her mad father. She didn't even hesitate to look back. All she knew is that she needs to escape, but that might not be possible because the door is locked. Alfred creepily called her name to let her know that he's close. Suddenly, the mannequin came to life and blocked the door. Aya was surprised but thankful for its help. She tried forcing the door to open again and again, but time was running out. Alfred's chainsaw went right through the wooden door, destroying it along with the mannequin. After a while, she managed to force open the door and runs out. While on the run, various objects and dolls tries to get in Alfred's way, almost as if they're helping Aya escape. She continued on until she reached a point where the path was blocked by a wooden barricade. This might be it for Aya, but luckily, she saw her mini chainsaw further back in the room. Quickly, she dodged Alfred's attack, get the chainsaw, and destroy the wooden barricade that is blocking the door. As she escaped, we see Maria waking up, and right on time, Aya runs into her. Alfred told her to capture Aya, but probably because she just woke up and still in a daze, Maria just watched her runs away. Aya arrived in the mortuary, but the exit is blocked by another wooden barricade. Since her chainsaw runs out of power, she can't destroy it, and with her father right behind her, she had to think fast. She saw an empty spot on the table, and without thinking too much, she lays there, disguising herself as a dead body. Maria then calls out to her, but Aya didn't answer, which is a good thing because after that, Alfred came in. He asked Maria if she found Aya, but Maria apologized, saying that she lost sight of her. Alfred, filled with anger, attacks Maria and leaves her to die while he searches for Aya. Once the coast is clear, Aya approached Maria and covered her wound with bandages to stop the bleeding. Maria thanked her and said sorry to her because she knows that Aya never liked her, but still she cared for her. Aya then asked Maria to live with her since she can't live with her father anymore, and she knew that both of them can't live alone. Maria agrees and the two of them made their way to the exit. As they were running away, Maria trips and falls to the ground. Aya wanted to help, but Maria told her to go on first and promised to be right behind her. Aya was hesitant to go, but seeing that Alfred could come back at any moment, Aya had no choice but to leave. She was close to escaping but then trips over. When she looks down, a doll was holding her in place, and to make matters worse, her father had caught up to her. Aya begged for her father to let her go, saying that she doesn't want to be a doll. Alfred just laughed it off, reassuring her that after he killed her, he'll make her into the perfect doll that he always wanted. He was about to swing his chainsaw until a knife hit him twice and he falls down. Maria came as she promised. She removed the doll from Aya and reassured her that everything is alright. However, Alfred was not done yet as he got up one last time to attack them, only for Robin to come in and deliver the final blow. We then see both of them on the entrance of the mansion, ready to leave. Robin apologized for scaring her for the first time they met. He was only doing it on behalf of Monica, who wanted to protect Aya. Robin told her that the curse is wearing off and soon they will return to normal, but before that, he had one last thing to do, and that is to set the mansion on fire so that no one can continue Alfred's experiment. As the mansion burned, he asked Aya to never forget the sacrifice of the people here and gave her a kiss on the forehead, similar to what her mother used to do. Outside, the two of them watches as their home was covered in flame. Maria stated that they are the only ones left, which Aya playfully added Snowball as their third member. Maria vows to protect Aya since she had done so much for her. As they leave, Aya found a red book which contains something. When she's done reading the book, she catches up to Maria, who had left early. We then see Ogre talking to Alfred, offering him a chance to come with him so that he could research as much as he wanted. Alfred's body twitches, a sign that he's not actually dead yet. In the true ending scene after collecting 20 gems, we can see Alfred's hair changes to purple and a grown-up version of Aya in a tank, setting up the event of Misao. A few years passed since the incident. We saw a woman named Jean arrive in a clinic outskirts of town. She heard that she could be treated there for free. It's definitely too good to be true, but she had to try either way. When she knocked on the door, a grown-up Aya greeted her and invited her inside. They chatted a bit more before she asked her to lay down and inject anesthesia so she could sleep. Jean asked if she could be cured, and Aya reassured her that from now on, she won't feel sick anymore. The game then ended with Maria talking to herself, confirming that Aya had indeed continued her father's work. So the ending to Mad Father might be a little bit confusing since true ending only shows us her reading a book and then years later she became a doctor like her father. So why did Aya become like her father at the end even though the things she went through at the mansion should have steered her away from that kind of life? Well, to understand that, we have to go back to her parents' childhood. Monica Drevis lived in a cultish family where her grandfather was obsessed with eternal beauty. As a child, she had a deep interest in killing. She goes so far as to write a letter to a few serial killers in prison. When she was a kid, she saw her grandpa kill a woman for a ritual and that fueled her interest even more. She also doesn't have much empathy to other people. She thinks of them as nothing more than sacrifice and that they should be glad to give their life to the Drevis family. She even mocked her own family member, as it's shown where her aunt commits suicide because she doesn't want to bear the burden of the Drevis family. She mocked her for not appreciating what the family did. When her grandpa died, he entrusted her to continue the family tradition. Her grandma, on the other hand, doesn't really want her to go down that path. Instead, she told her that eternal beauty could also mean leaving a descendant. As she wondered how she could do both, she had a fated encounter with Alfred, who's on a killing spree. For some reason, he did not kill her and let her live instead. This made her fall deeply in love with him. And given that Alfred is also the same as Monica, it's literally a match made in heaven. Alfred, on the other hand, already have a troublesome childhood. He loves killing animals and even goes so far as to keep the dead body inside the drawer. When he killed his mother out of annoyance, instead of remorse or sad, he felt her mother's dead body was beautiful and wanted to preserve the beautiness of people after they died. Now, when he received the letter from Monica, she gave him the map to her place. She also mentioned that her place used to be a cult base. It is here that Alfred finally got the answer to preserving the beauty after they died. Using Monica's family's tradition, he took on the homeless people, gave them place to stay, and then turned them into dolls. Monica, on the other hand, got pregnant with Alfred's baby. She wanted a baby boy, possibly because boys is better than girls in terms of killing. She believed this one charm where it told her that in order to get a baby boy, she need to use light blue color. That's why her bedroom has light blue blankets. But obviously that didn't happen and she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. But even if she didn't get the baby she wanted, she still couldn't move on from that. That's why Aya only wears blue clothes, her rooms have blue carpet, and Monica wears a blue dress. Initially, Monica didn't want to force Aya to become like her. She let her do whatever she wanted, but all that changed when Aya exhibits same behavior as Monica when she was a kid. She kills animals for fun, and when her mother brought in a rat, Aya was overjoyed. So, she started grooming her to be the next Drevis that will inherit her family's tradition. Her father didn't like how Aya is slowly becoming like him, slowly showing signs of psychotic behavior, just like he is when he was a kid. When Aya caught a bird and kills it without feeling sad, he was horrified to see that his own daughter is slowly becoming like him. He tries to teach her what's right and what's wrong. However, Monica caught on to this and was upset to find out that Alfred is not who she thinks he is. She decided to play the part of a feeble and obedient wife because she knew that at the end, Aya will become like her. However, Alfred had a different idea for Aya. He didn't want her to become like him, and after trying so many things, he decided to turn her into a doll, just so he could preserve her innocence. Monica, who heard about his plan, confronted him, threatening to take their daughter away. Alfred didn't like that idea and kills her. He then told Aya that her mother died of an illness, which is not true because Monica was never sick. She only pretended to have a sickness, but it worked out well for Alfred, who didn't know that Monica was never sick. So him saying to Aya that her mother died out of a sickness was purely a coincidence that unfortunately helped him out a lot. Some time had passed and Monica reawakened with revenge in mind and revived all of the ones that were killed by Alfred. This is where the event of Mad Father took place. Now, at the end of Mad Father, we see Aya reading a red book. No one knows the content, but my theory is that the book contains Monica's secret, her family's origin, and to some extent, reason why her father did all of that. When Aya read the book, she finally understood something. That's why she didn't show any emotion at the end. As she grows older, she understands what her father did and follows in his footsteps to become this doctor/doll maker. But Aya is not as crazy as Alfred, because she only turned people who doesn't have long to live anymore. As it shows with Jean, her doctor already given up on her. That's how severe her condition is, and Aya wanted to end her suffering, decided to kill her and took part of her body to turn it into a doll. At the end, we saw Aya talking to a doll, and this implies that she still loves her father, and doing this might have been her way to honor her promise and understand him better. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I thought it was going to be a short one like Misao, but turns out this game is much longer than I anticipated. But it doesn't matter because I love the storytelling of this game, and after finishing it, I really wanted more. Thank you for all the love and support on my previous video. It really means a lot how I can take my time to make this video and not rush things. Anyways, leave your comments on what do you want to see on the next video. Subscribe for more stuff like this and check out my previous video. That's all. See ya.